Have you ever felt like you're trying so hard, but nothing's changing? You wake up early, work diligently, learn new skills, read personal development books, try your best to be patient, but everything around you stays the same. No breakthroughs, no big moments. You start to look around and wonder, what am I doing wrong? Maybe it feels like you've planted a seed in dry, lifeless soil. Day after day, you water it. You care for it. You speak words of encouragement to yourself. But the soil stays silent. No sprout, no sign of life. And slowly, doubt begins to creep in. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this just isn't meant for me. But what if I told you, silence doesn't always mean nothing is happening? That some seeds don't sprout in a few days, they take weeks, even months just to grow roots? And during that time, you see absolutely nothing above the surface. But beneath the soil, something powerful is being built. We live in a world obsessed with speed, fast internet, quick results, instant success. But the truth is, anything worth having takes time. And those who are willing to wait, those who are patient, they're the ones who grow deep, not just high. So if you're in a season where you're planting and watering, but not seeing any visible results, don't give up. You're not failing. You're rooting. Stay with me just a little longer. And let me tell you the story of Liam, a man who discovered one of life's greatest lessons about patience from a cactus. Let me tell you about Caleb. He's 28, lives in Portland, Oregon. A city full of coffee shops, street art, and people chasing big dreams. Caleb is one of them. Ever since he was a kid, Caleb loved to draw. While other kids were outside playing football or riding bikes, Caleb sat by the window with a sketchbook in his lap, lost in a world of dragons, astronauts, and tiny imaginary creatures. His dream? To become a professional illustrator, to create art for children's books, graphic novels, and maybe even one day, a feature film. He did everything by the book. He went to art school, graduated with solid grades, built a clean, creative portfolio, and after college, he started applying to every design studio, animation house, and publishing company he could find. But life didn't exactly roll out the red carpet. 3 years. 3 years of rejections, silence, or worse. Polite emails that started with, "We appreciate your interest," but to keep paying the bills, Caleb worked the early shift at a local coffee shop. He'd wake up before the sun, serve espresso with a smile, then rush home to squeeze in freelance gigs that barely paid. In between shifts, he would update his portfolio, apply to jobs, tweak his website, and reach out to art directors on social media, over 100 times easily. But nothing came back. He started questioning everything. Is my art just not good enough? Am I wasting my time? Should I just give up and find something more realistic? That's when Caleb stumbled across something unusual. One evening after work, drained and disappointed, he walked into a small plant shop near his apartment. He wasn't even planning to buy anything, he just needed a change of scenery. As he wandered between shelves of succulents and ferns, something caught his eye. It was a cactus. Not flashy, not colorful, just a plain, stubborn little thing in a clay pot. Next to it was a tiny handwritten sign that said, "This cactus didn't grow a single inch for 2 years. Then one summer, it grew over a foot in just 3 weeks. Some things take time before they rise." Caleb stared at that cactus like it had just spoken to him. Because in that moment he realized something. Maybe he wasn't stuck. Maybe he was just growing roots. Even after seeing the cactus in the plant shop, Caleb's doubts didn't magically disappear. Sure, the sign gave him a flicker of hope, but hope is fragile when you're exhausted. Weeks passed. Rejections kept coming. And slowly, the voices of people around him grew louder than his own. Maybe it's time to be practical. You're almost 30, Caleb. Art can be a hobby, but it's not a career. His parents had always wanted him to work in an office, stable hours, health insurance, a clear path. And honestly, it didn't sound so bad anymore. He was tired of chasing something that didn't seem to want him back. One Sunday afternoon, trying to clear his head, Caleb packed his sketchbook and walked to the park. He sat under a tall tree, staring at a blank page, not really drawing, just holding the pencil like it might anchor him to a dream he no longer believed in. A few feet away, an elderly man sat on a bench with a wooden clipboard and a set of charcoal pencils. His hand moved with quiet confidence, sketching the golden curve of the setting sun. Caleb glanced over. The man looked up and smiled. "You draw too?" he asked, nodding toward Caleb's sketchbook. "Trying to," Caleb said with a tired laugh. He hesitated, then opened up, told the stranger about his years of struggle, the silence, the rejections, the feeling that maybe he was just wasting time. The old man listened without interrupting. When Caleb finished, the man introduced himself. "Raymond. Used to be an illustrator. Retired now." Then Raymond said something unexpected. "You ever heard of agave azul?" Caleb shook his head. "It's a cactus I planted when I lived in Arizona. For 5 years it did absolutely nothing. Just sat there. Same size, same color. I thought it was broken." He chuckled softly. "But in the 6th year, it suddenly shot up, over 6 feet tall. And then it bloomed once brilliantly, like it had been saving up its magic." Caleb listened, eyes locked. Raymond looked at him and said, "Just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean it's not happening. The roots always come first." Those words hit Caleb like a wave. He realized something. Maybe this season of struggle wasn't failure. Maybe it was root building, preparation, a quiet, invisible phase before the breakthrough. That conversation didn't land him a job, but it gave him something more powerful, a reason to keep going. Caleb laughed and shook his head. "So I'm basically a cactus that hasn't bloomed yet?" Raymond chuckled, eyes squinting behind his thick glasses. "Exactly. Just be careful not to stab yourself while you wait." They both burst out laughing, soft and genuine. It had been a while since Caleb laughed like that. Not out of politeness, not to mask the stress, but because something actually felt funny again. Raymond handed Caleb a spare charcoal pencil and nodded toward the open view of the park. "Try sketching this. But this time, don't draw like someone trying to prove anything. Just draw like someone who sees." Caleb nodded. For the first time in weeks, his hand didn't shake from self-doubt. He started sketching, not perfectly, not obsessively, just honestly. The golden streak of sunlight through the trees. A pair of kids racing each other barefoot on the grass. A sleepy dog sprawled beneath the bench across from them. When he finished, Raymond glanced at the sketch and nodded. "You know," he said, "you might be drawing your best work, now that you've stopped trying so hard to be someone." Caleb laughed again. "So now I'm just a chill cactus in the park, pretending I don't have 300 rejection emails waiting back home?" Raymond raised a brow. "Better than being a stressed-out cactus shriveling up in a dark apartment." He added, "You know why people don't keep anxious cacti as houseplants?" Caleb tilted his head. "Because they stab you every time you water them?" Raymond grinned. "Exactly. And usually they stab themselves first." Another round of laughter. In that moment, Caleb wasn't a struggling artist. He wasn't someone haunted by silence, trying to make a name. He was just a person, sketching, breathing, laughing with a strange old man in the park under the quiet hum of sunset. And sometimes those are the moments that remind you, growth doesn't always look like motion, and blooming doesn't always come with a warning. After that afternoon in the park with Raymond, Caleb felt something shift inside him. He no longer felt the pressure to prove himself or force recognition. Instead, he found peace in simply living his passion for drawing, free from the invisible expectations and stress. Caleb decided to continue his journey, patiently improving his skills, refining his unique style, and consistently sharing his artwork online. He understood that the path wouldn't always be easy, But now he had learned to embrace the slow pace and not rush. Every day, Caleb dedicated time to practice, observe life around him, and find inspiration in the simplest moments. The sunlight filtering through leaves, children's laughter, or the way a lazy dog lounged beneath a park bench. His drawings gradually transformed from mere perfect copies or attempts to impress into genuine works filled with soul and personal stories. Caleb also began receiving encouraging feedback from the online community. People who admired not just his technique, but the warmth and sincerity conveyed through his art. A year later, his perseverance was unexpectedly but rightly rewarded. An indie publisher specializing in children's comics noticed Caleb's distinctive style and pure spirit. They offered to collaborate on a children's comic series, telling simple yet profound stories about patience, kindness, and the power of growth. This project gave Caleb a chance not only to fulfill his dream, but also to share positive messages with a new generation. At last, Caleb saw the flowers bloom, the fruit of years of silent nurturing and unwavering patience. He realized that patience isn't merely waiting, but trusting the process, even when the results aren't visible. Every stroke of the brush, every day of practice was a seed for the future. When the time was right, the flowers would bloom naturally, without force, without rush. Caleb's journey wasn't just about an artist finding success. It was a lesson in perseverance, humility, and the true meaning of achievement. Not the flashy external rewards, but the lasting value created from passion and steadfastness. With this new mindset, Caleb was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident that every step mattered, and the most beautiful flowers would come when the moment was ripe. After Caleb's breakthrough with the indie publisher, his life changed in ways he had only dreamed of. But more importantly, the journey taught him something far beyond fame or success. It taught him about faith, persistence, and the quiet power of patience. Caleb realized that every artist, every dreamer, faces moments of doubt and invisibility. The progress isn't always obvious, and the path can feel lonely. Yet, it is precisely in those unseen moments that the most important growth happens. If you are someone quietly planting the seeds for your own dreams, just like Caleb once did, remember this. Don't give up simply because you don't see immediate results. Progress often happens under the surface, hidden from view. Every small effort, every practice session, every setback is part of a bigger picture you may not yet understand. Trust that you are growing, evolving, and moving forward, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Caleb's story is not unique. Many of us wrestle with impatience, frustration, and self-doubt. We want the rewards now, the recognition, the validation. But what if the real reward is in the process itself? What if the act of showing up every day, putting in the work, and believing in your vision is the greatest success? Caleb's experience is a reminder that patience isn't about passively waiting. It's about active trust in your journey, a trust that strengthens your skills, sharpens your spirit, and prepares you for the moment when your flowers will bloom. So, if this story resonates with you, if you're on a path that feels slow or uncertain, I encourage you to keep going. Keep nurturing your passion, keep learning, and keep believing in the unseen progress you're making. Sometimes the hardest part is just continuing when you feel invisible, but that's exactly when your efforts matter most. And if you know someone else who's struggling to stay patient with their dreams, share this story with them. Sometimes all it takes is a little reminder that they're not alone, that others have walked the same road and found success by trusting the process. Your share could be the encouragement someone needs to keep going. Remember Caleb's words, patience isn't waiting, it's trusting the process, even when the results are invisible. Let this be your mantra as you plant your seeds and wait for your own flowers to bloom. Your time will come, and when it does, it will be worth every moment of quiet perseverance.